Greetings my friends, and welcome to a brand new video, and this video is about a new campaign we're going to look to start quite soon. Basically, I've set up a poll for a new Total War campaign from a non-ETW, so a non-Empire game, so it's going to be a brand new Total War game. Empire is not included in this poll at all. It's either going to be Shogun 2, Medieval 2, Attila, Rome 2, or Warhammer 2. So with Warhammer, just quick clarification, with Warhammer 2, what I mean by is, if you want me to do Warhammer, or if the vote is for Warhammer, what I'll probably do is wait for Warhammer 2 to come out before I take that, and I've got Warhammer 2 because, you know, I will include all the factions if Warhammer 2 is chosen. I will include all the factions, including Warhammer, the original sort of Warhammer factions, and Warhammer 2 factions as well. I know that maybe the original Warhammer factions won't really get a look in because they've probably already been done by other YouTubers as well that you might have probably watched. So, you know, but I wanted to put it there so to give them a fair crack of the whip, as it were, and also to make sure that when CA eventually combine both maps together to have one large massive grand campaign map, maybe we can do something with that as well, but who knows? That depends on how the vote goes. So we've got, as I said, we've got we've got Napoleon as well. I do beg your pardon, my friends, we've got Napoleon Total War in there as well. Now I know Napoleon is quite close to Empire, but I wanted to include it in we haven't had a Napoleon campaign for quite a while either. But what we're going to do is what we'll do is, if you could all please vote for whatever you would like to see in terms of which Total War game, and then there will be a second vote to which faction within that game. But also we're looking at mods. Now this is probably the most important part. Now I'm going to hold my hands up here. I've not really kept a close eye on the different sort of mod scene for the different games, because I'm primarily in Empire Total War, and I'm using Darth mod, as you can probably see from here, is my primary mod. I have not kept up to date with the mods for the different Total Wars. So whatever Total War wins, I'm going to need your advice also on which mod to use. Now, I know there are complete overhaul mods. In other words, we've got something like for Attila, there's 1212 AD. Now, although that looks absolutely incredible, the problem is then you start getting votes then for which faction within that mod. So in other words, if Attila won, then we'd have to have, and if 1212 was used, then you have to have another vote. So in other words, you're sort of getting into more and more votes. So I really wanted to try and steer away from those sort of things that might, have a complete overhaul. I'd like to try and keep the Total War game as its original content, but add a mod on top that maybe improves the AI, improves the number of units you get, the different units you get, so maybe makes them historically more accurate, improves the graphics, that type of thing. So maybe we can just sort of build upon an original game. Or if you want to see a complete overhaul, if you want to see something that's completely brand new, for example, for Medieval 2, there's also this sort of Lord of Rings mod as well, which is an excellent mod. Attila's got, as I said, 1212 AD. I know Napoleon has got a few other sort of mods as well. But again, that will be completely up to you, my friends. If there is a real big call for a complete overhaul, so in other words, something that completely changes the original in its entirety and brings us something completely new, as I said, like Lord of the Rings or 1212 AD, of course I will do that. But please remember then that means we have to get into another vote, or I will sort of, as it were, make an executive decision in inverted commas, where I will just sort of choose which faction is in that mod. Not really I want to do, because I really want to bring in all of your sort of what you want. This is about not only this campaign, but also the channel itself is about what you want as well, my friends, not what me sort of making executive decisions. Because I could just say, right, we're going to do this game, and we're going to do this campaign, we're going to do this faction on it, and nobody's got any input, nobody's got any there's no connection with it, as it were. So I really want to bring that into as best I can, but what I don't want to do is get drawn into vote after vote after vote. But I also don't keep a close eye on the mods, and I know I probably should, but again, time really is against me, my friends. I know I'm just crazily busy. I know I keep saying that, it probably gets a bit boring after a while, but I don't have the time really to sort of keep an eye on all the mods. But I know that many of you probably use different mods in different games, in Total War games. So I'm going to rely heavily on you. I'm going to lean heavily upon you, my friends. In the comment section for this video as well, please put what mods you'd like to see, depending on what wins. So if you can just put, like, for Attila, put a whatever you'd like to see, and then Rome 2, what you'd like to see, and etc., etc. in your comments. Because as I really want to try and get a mod that's going to provide a lot of depth, and it's going to provide a challenge as well. Now remember, for Rome 2 and Attila, I have barely played it. Those two, especially in their new sort of iterations where they've been updated and upgraded, and as it were, by CA, I have barely played either of them. So I will be effectively starting as a novice on those two games. If you want to see a challenge, then they are maybe the two you want to point yourselves towards. If you really want, and I'll be leaning heavily upon the council for help for that. There will of course be a prelude video for that. So in other words, a video will go out before the actual campaign starts, where we can discuss what our plans will be, whatever the campaign, whatever the game, whatever the Total War game you choose, whatever campaign you choose. There will be a prelude video going out to sort of define and help define and shape the campaign before we start, to get the council's advice. I know many of you are real veterans of many a campaign on many of the different Total Wars. So I'll be pulling and drawing heavily upon all of you, my friends, I really will. And those two in particular, Attila and Rome 2, I will be calling particularly upon the council. So if you want to see a real challenge, if you really want to put me through my paces, then those are two that you might want to steer yourselves towards. Now, I'm not going to try and influence you in any way. I know you're probably saying, well, you have, Malin, by telling us that, but I'm just telling you the truth. I'd rather be open and tell you the truth. You might also see me completely fail in a disaster after about five episodes, and that is also the truth. It might literally be that quickly over. On some of them. Medieval 2, I have some experience on. Napoleon, of course, I have a fair bit of experience on. Shogun 2, again, a fair bit of experience, but again, I would be starting effectively from the beginning on most of them. I have not played other Total War games apart from Empire for a very long time. A very long time indeed. So I'm very sort of rusty, and on two of them, as I've just discussed, I might have bought the game yesterday. That is how sort of a novice I am at them. But again, I'm always up for a challenge. I'm always looking to learn, and I'm definitely always looking for the input and the advice of the council. I really am. It's really crucial that you understand, my friends, how important you are to this channel. Without you, the channel would just be absolutely nothing at all. It really wouldn't. You are the absolute beating heart, the key, the cornerstone of this channel. You really are, and everything that comes out of it is for you, and I try and give the best I possibly can so that you can enjoy it. I really am, it's a real joy to me. The joy of doing YouTube is having the interaction with you. It really is absolutely fantastic. I'm not looking for anything fancy out of YouTube at all. I'm not coming to YouTube with some kind of fancy sort of dream about being whatever it is. For me, it's purely about sharing my sort of passion for Total War, but also being able to sort of interact with all of you on a daily basis, to be able to get your interaction, your comments, your proposals, being a team, as it were, together, sort of going through these things. And that's all I really want from this, and it's all I have a real want from this, to be honest with you, and because I thoroughly enjoy it. I really do. And if I could do this full time, mark my words, I would be on this, all over this. I really would. But unfortunately, that is not an option. So as you can see, that's why some of my videos do take 4 or 5 days to come out, because you can probably hopefully understand my business is just gone crazily busy over the last couple of years. So and I'm thankful for that. I really am thankful for that. But again, it does sort of slow down what my sort of output is. But again, so there's going to be a link in the description. Get back onto the poll. There's a link in the description. There'll be a sort of a list of what other Total War games there is. If you just click on one of them, only one, you can only choose one. And then once, I'll give it a few days. I'll probably might give it close to a week, but I'll try and be as quick as I can. So, we'll probably look at maybe 4 or 5 days, and then after that, that poll will close, and then we will look at whichever the winner is. We will then look in some more depth at the campaign itself, what factions are available, and then we'll also at that same time discuss the mods that have been looked at. There might even be a second poll, so we'll have a faction poll, and in the same video we'll also have a description in there on which mod you'd like to see. So again, we will start to get the bandwagon rolling, and then a week after that you'll probably see the brand new campaign starting with a prelude video. So again, we'll start kicking things. So it's going to be probably about 2 weeks before we see the prelude video. But again, as you can imagine, my friends, I'd like to get all your interaction, all your sort of proposals in there, whatever it is. And again, even if you've never played Total War before, even if you've never even cast your eyes upon it before, please do not be afraid to comment. Every single person is welcome in my channel. Every single one in our channel, should I say. Even if you're experienced, I know there are many highly experienced commanders who comment weekly, daily on the channel. There are also those who is fabulous to see. It really is, that have just recently bought Empire Total War or bought a Total War game, and they're saying they're thoroughly enjoying it and they're asking for advice. And I'm always glad for that. I'm in the back of my mind, I'm trying to get out some videos that may help, some sort of beginner's guides, as it were, to try and get out some beginner's guides with sort of technology and diplomacy of Empire Total War and things like that. But again, I would always do my best to try and get these things out. But again, please remember that things behind the scenes don't really allow me to get a lot of videos out very quickly. That's just not, unfortunately, not going to happen of late. But I'll try to do my best to get the depth. When you do get a video, it will be as best quality as I can possibly can, and as long as I can make it. So again, I'm going to leave this to you now, my friends. Nothing fancy about this video. Nothing fancy about this one. It's a pure vote here of what the next Total War game you want to see, and whatever you want to see, that will be done, I can promise you, my friends. But again, I like to, because I want to try and keep the channel fresh. Some people are saying, can you just take away, can you just add something different to the channel away from Empire Total War? But of course, whatever you if there's enough people asking for it, I will do my best to try and change things up. I know a number of you have been asking for Hearts of Iron 4 and some other sort of the grand strategy games. I'll definitely look at getting those. Probably when the Steam sale comes along, I'll probably look at getting Hearts of Iron 4. But remember, I have to learn that game then, and that's time to learn that game for me as well. That really would take a long time for me to learn the game to a point where I'd be able to put it up to sort of give it a decent shot. So although I'd love to play Hearts of Iron 4, it does look absolutely fantastic. I know the Rambler has done a fantastic number of videos on his channel, Hearts of Iron 4, which I do thoroughly enjoy. Again, time is against me in that term, so Total War is really the predominant, because I've got a basis from which to start from, so I can, even with Attila and Rome, there's a basis I can start from. I know the sort of general basic gist of where we're coming from. With those other sort of grand strategy games, I'd have to start absolutely from right down from the ground upwards, and that would take a while for me to get to a point where I would be able to provide decent content. I don't want to be jumping into a game and then all of a sudden, just after about 2 or 3 turns, the game is completely collapsed and it's just, it just dies on its feet because I haven't been good enough, or I don't have enough experience, or I can't get a grip of the game quickly enough. So that's not what I want to do. But again, I've rambled once again, my friends. But anyway, I digress as usual. But again, so in the link, in the description, there's a link to a straw poll. Just click on whichever one you want, and then after 4 or 5 days, whatever is there, whatever the votes are, I will then look to move to another video which will tell you which is won. We'll look at the factions. We'll discuss some mods. There'll probably be a vote for the faction and the mod you'd like to see, and then we'll work together then, my friends, to bring that. There'll be a prelude, and that's when I will be definitely asking for the council's help in copious amounts. I really will. But anyway, my friends, that's basically the gist of this. This is going to be a brand new campaign, non-Empire Total War. There'll be no Empire Total War in this one. It's a completely Empire Total War free campaign, this one. I know many of you are saying, again, it's getting a little bit repetitive, and I can understand where you're coming from. And I don't want that. I don't want people moving away saying, oh, Mal has gotten boring now, he just sticks to the one thing. So I wanted to introduce something else. But again, please, my friends, whatever you're doing, please don't ever sort of stop putting your comments. It doesn't matter if you're a highly skilled veteran or you're a complete beginner, your comments will always be welcome. Everybody's welcome in this channel, everybody. But anyway, my friends, I'm going to leave it up to you now. So whatever you want, please let me know. And thank you once again for all your wonderful support and wonderful sort of advice and proposals, and your wonderful commitment to all the campaigns. Has been absolutely fantastic. It really is a joy to do. Even some people say, well, you'd like to get to 1 million subscribers. Of course, but would I give that up for what I've got now with what my channel is, what the channel is at the moment? No, I wouldn't, my friends. No, I'd rather have what I've got now and have the interaction and have that depth and the wonderful interaction we have, than have 1 million subscribers and not be able to reply to anybody. That's not. Excuse me in the background, my friends, you probably guess who that is barking in the background there. But that's how I see it anyway. But anyway, my friends, I'm going to leave it up to you now, and please make your decisions, and we'll go from there. And whatever you do, my friends, this weekend, please be safe, and I shall see you very, very soon on a brand new battlefield, hopefully. But after this video, probably coming in the next couple of days is going to be the Knights of St. John campaign, then it's going to be the British campaign. So I know many of you have been calling for the Knights of St. John. Fear not, that's going to be up next. But I'm going to leave it up to you now, my friends, to decide what you want to see next. But until then, bye for now.